Hello everyone, welcome back to our own hope YouTube channel. In today's video we are going to see about class 7 polity NCERT, that is on unit 1 equality in Indian democracy, and the chapter name is on equality. Basically in India, the government's role in passing laws and instituting policies is discussed to show that commitment to the alleviation of existing inequalities is a major part of the work that governments undertake, and equality is achieved through focusing on one social movement as well as creating or highlighting creative ways through which people express their demand for equality. That is, their creativity is on writing or singing a song or a poem based on their needs for their demand for equality. Equality and democracy are dynamic and not static concepts. That is, this dynamism is reflected in the government's passing of new laws and programs and in people's movement around the various social and economic issues. We all know that India is a democratic country, that is, India is a democracy. The key elements of democracy are people's participation, the resolution of conflict, equality, and justice. Basically, equality is a thing, that is, the equality influences all aspects of the functioning of the democracy. A story is given in the book. Based on that, all the citizens stand in the same queue for voting, but it is not the case when they are sick and while standing in a hospital queue. That is, it's different for a rich and a poor person. Equal right to vote. The universal adult franchise. It is an essential aspect of all democracy. In a democratic country like India, all adults, irrespective of what religion they belong to or how much education they have had or what caste they are or the communities they belong to or whether they are rich or poor, all are allowed to vote. That is, this concept of universal adult franchise is based on the idea of equality. Other kinds of equality. Basically, the people in India experiences inequality in different ways. That is, some common forms of inequality in India are caste system, religion, class background, gender, tribes, disability, not having resources or opportunities equally. They are known as poor. A story on a Dalit child who is Om Prakash Valmiki in his book, that is in his autobiography Judan, about his childhood experience when he was going to a school, is given as a story. And also another story about Mr. and Mrs. Ansari who was searching for an apartment was also given. These two stories will give you a clear picture about the inequality which is existing in our country. Recognizing dignity. When a person is treated unequally, their dignity and self-respect is violated. Equality in Indian democracy. The Indian Constitution recognizes every person as equal. This is not to say that inequality ceases to exist, but it does not. But at least in democratic country like India, the principle of equality of all person is recognized. In a movie named Diwar in 1975, it shows that a boy who works as a shoe shine refuses to pick up a coin thrown at him. He feels that there is a dignity in the work that he does and insists that his fee be given respectfully. Now, there are several laws to say that people are treated with dignity and as equals. Provisions in Indian Constitution that are available for the recognition on provisions in our Indian Constitution that are available for the recognition on equality are: every person is equal before the law, that is, everyone should obey the same law. It may be from the president to a domestic worker. All are equal before the law. No person can be discriminated against on the basis of their religion, race, caste, place of birth, or whether they are a female or male, that is based on their gender. Every person has access to all public places including playgrounds, hotels, shops and markets. All persons can use publicly available wells, roads, and bathrooms whenever they are needed. That is, according to our Indian Constitution, also untouchability has been abolished. The ways in which the government has tried to implement the equality are through laws, and secondly through government programs or schemes to help the disadvantaged communities, individuals. That is, we can understand that equality is guaranteed in our constitution. For example, we can take the midday meal scheme. Tamil Nadu was the first state in India to introduce this scheme in 2001. Some of the benefits of this scheme are: more poor children have begun enrolling in the schools. Attendance has improved. Mothers who earlier had to interrupt their work to feed their children at home during the day now no longer needed to do so. Reduced caste prejudices existed. The scheme reduced the hunger of poor students. Basically, the parliament is the cornerstone of our democracy, and we are represented in it through our elected representatives. On coming to the point of equality, people refuse to think of them as equal, even though the law requires it, because attitude changes very slowly. Equality exists only when people believe that no one is inferior and every person deserves to be treated with dignity. Issues of equality in other democracies. Basically, the inequality exists all over the world in many democratic countries. The issue of equality continues to be the key issue around which communities struggle. Let's take the example of United States of America. The African and the Americans whose ancestors were the slaves who were brought over from Africa continue to describe their lives today as largely unequal. This despite the fact that there was a movement in the late 1950s to push for equal rights for the Africans and Americans. Prior to this, the African Americans were treated extremely unequal in the United States. Once, due to an incident happened in a bus where a woman named Rosa Parks, who refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man on 1st December 1955, came to be known as a civil rights movement. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, religion, or national origin. It also stated that all schools would be open to African American children and that they would no longer have to attend separate schools. Dr. Ambedkar once said that it is disgraceful to live at the cost of one's self-respect. Self-respect is the most vital factor in life. Without it, man is a cipher. To live worthily with self-respect, one has to overcome difficulties. It is out of hard and ceaseless struggles alone that one derives strength, confidence, and recognition. Man is mortal. Everyone has to die, some day or the other. But one must resolve to lay down one's life in enriching the noble ideals of self respect and in bettering one's human life. Nothing is more disgraceful for a brave man than to live life devoid of self-respect. According to the Article 15 of the Indian Constitution, prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, the state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only on religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. No citizen shall, on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them, be subject to any disability, liability, restriction, or condition with regard to access to shop, public restaurants, hotels, and places of public entertainments. The use of wells, tanks, bathing yachts, roads, and places of public resort maintained wholly or partly out of state funds or dedicated to the use of general public. These are the provisions in Constitution that are available for the recognition on equality, which is given in the Article 15 of the Indian Constitution. Challenge of democracy. No country can be described as being completely democratic. There are always communities and individuals trying to expand the idea of democracy and push for a greater recognition of equality on existing as well as new issues. Central to this is the struggle for the recognition of all persons as equal and for their dignity to be maintained. Here, the chapter ends where we learned about various situations where inequality were existed and the provisions which were provided by our Indian Constitution for the recognition of equality were known from this chapter. From this chapter 1 of class 7 polity, the important points which we have to remember are: what are the key elements of our Indian democracy? Meaning of what is known as universal adult franchise, and also the various common forms of inequality is given in this chapter. We also have to remember what is midday meal scheme and benefits of this scheme. The Article 15 is the article which provides the provisions for the recognition of equality. These are the important points which we have to remember after studying this chapter. Therefore, I hope this video is helpful for your exam preparation. Always be consistent on your preparations. If my videos are helpful for your exam preparations, kindly subscribe my YouTube channel. It will really be an encouragement for me to upload more videos in future. Always never lose hope. Thank you.